He's been an active member of the community science and property committees for several years now. And before that, Jim had a career in the pharmaceutical and chemical industries, working on engineering as well as project and construction management. His connection to Bucks Audubon also goes back quite a way. When his children were younger, he and his family would regularly visit Honey Hollow. So we're excited to have Jim aboard, and I'm excited to work with him and see how he uses his experiences and care for this organization to help guide Bucks Audubon in the years to come. So we do need to have a quick vote to officially add Jim to the board. So if everybody who would like to welcome Jim aboard, have him become our newest board member, would raise their hands.
Okay, well, you lost my picture, but that's all right. My hand is raised.
We can see you.
Yeah, we can see you, Pat.
Yep. And that looks like everyone. So
as I'm just calling in, I'll say yes.
Excellent.
Excellent. Thank you.
So welcome aboard, Jim.
Thank you very much. I'm looking forward to next year too.
Great. Excellent. All righty. Get this back up. Oh, that was... There we go. Well, welcome, Jim. We are very excited to have you. Next up on our agenda, if you've been to one of these before, it's my yearly sort of year in review, sort of what we've been doing, what we've been up to, and sort of some exciting things that we have coming up next. Before I start with my year in review, I just wanted to just to say a couple words about sort of my experience at Bucks Audubon. I just celebrated, in case anyone wasn't keeping track, I actually just celebrated my 5th anniversary at Bucks Audubon. So I'm really excited to have been here and really excited about a lot of the changes that we've seen happen, and just the exciting energy that I feel like the organization has, both through our volunteers and our staff and all of our supporters. So I want to thank all of you so much for making my 5 years really, really meaningful and exciting and just a really fun place to work. So thank you all. That being said, this was not the easiest year over the last year. Last year at the annual meeting was, we were just figuring out how to do Zoom, and we were just figuring out, maybe what this pandemic was going to look like, although we were, I feel like, completely wrong. It turned out way different than I think we thought, but we were just starting to figure out how it was going to go. So this year in review is a little different than normal, but I feel like we've had actually a really exciting year. We've done some really great things. I love this picture right here. This is actually some of our master watershed stewards that have been doing a project over the last couple of years, helping to do native plantings and work on our riparian buffer zone. And they were one of the first big groups that we had sort of back out working on the property, and they were troopers with their masks and with their social distance and all of that, because they really felt like it was an important thing to do. So they were excited about coming out. So I think that is really a message that sort of weaves through everything that we did this year, that people wanted to get outside, they wanted to be in nature, they wanted what we had to offer. And we tried as much as we could to do things and offer programs and keep everyone safe. And I feel like we did a really great job doing that. Obviously, since last we met, Zoom has become the word that we use in our vocabulary now all the time. There are weeks I feel like I never want to be on Zoom ever again. But what it has done for us that's really, really exciting to me is that we've been offering Zoom programs now for over a year, and we have over a year's worth of Zoom programs recorded and on our YouTube page. You can go onto our YouTube page now and watch shows all about owls. You can watch shows about solar energy. You can watch all kinds of really great, in-depth, wonderful programs that we have been doing over the last year. And they're all there available for people to watch. So I'm really excited that we now have that sort of really rich amount of content that we can use to share and enhance the other things that we do moving forward. So that is definitely one of the really positive things, no matter how tired we might get of Zoom. And we did a Zoom ribbon cutting for our solar, and we're doing Zoom annual meetings, but I feel like, we have a lot of really great stuff that we've accumulated, a lot of really great content. But it wasn't all about Zoom. The pandemic didn't stop us from doing our programs, from getting people outside, from really connecting them to nature. We still have volunteers coming out. We still have a lot of programming going on. It was smaller than normal, smaller groups. There were a lot of masks. There was a lot of social distancing, but we were doing them there, and there was a lot of demand for them. We were doing a lot of programs for kids. Last summer, even though the camp was smaller than what we'd done in the past, we still did it. There was a lot of demand. People wanted their kids to get outside, even during the school year, because so many kids were virtual for so many different parts of it. We started a young naturalist program. We did a lot of things to add and sort of try and help people get through this time. And I think we did a really, really great job. We were just providing that, that wonderful sort of healing benefits of nature to everybody. When this started and all the parks were closed and we were one of the few places that were open, we were a little overwhelmed by the amount of people we were getting coming out and walking. Those numbers are down, but they're still much, much higher, probably 3 to 4 times higher than what we were seeing before the pandemic. People really want to be at Audubon. They want to be outside. They want to be walking around. As I mentioned earlier, a lot of people are coming on a regular basis. We're seeing families that come every week. We're seeing people who are coming to walk their dogs a couple times a week, and really enjoying it and appreciating what we're doing and the benefits of being outside. So my recommendation to all of you, if you have not been out, I highly, highly recommend it. The property is beautiful right now. This is an amazing time of year. So come out, see what we're up to, see what's going on, see some of the things I'm talking about throughout this presentation, and just, pop in and say hello. The staff isn't there every day. There is staff there every day. It's not always all of us, but you definitely pop in, say hello, and come see the property. As I mentioned, we did camp last year. We went back and forth a lot about this. Last June, the CDC put out some guidelines for day camps, and we followed them very carefully and actually a little bit more stringently than they had recommended. And we were able to do a nice, safe camp for kids. We did smaller groups, but we were still outside. And I'm really excited that we did that because it's really leading, I think, towards a really successful camp that we're going to be doing this summer. Last summer, we had about 15 to 20 kids per week for 5 weeks. This year, we're doing 6 weeks, and we're going to have about 40 kids per week. And camp for this coming summer is already full. We have filled all of our spaces and have waiting lists for a lot of our weeks. And I think that's because we were offering the program last year. We didn't hesitate. People told their friends that we had done it well, that people want to be outside. They want their kids to be safe, and they think outside is a great place for that. So I think camps are one of those things I think is really sort of helped get us through COVID. Obviously, over the last year, we've encountered some other issues, not just the pandemic. There has been a lot of issues about environmental justice and about diversity. And this is something that as an organization, we wanted to sort of tackle and work on. So we started a diversity task force that's headed by Callie Weeks. And we looked at some different things that we could do. Obviously, COVID makes it a little bit harder sometimes. Where we are is a little bit harder. And one of the things that we really realized is that we need to be supportive of environmental justice. So we're currently working on an advocacy position statement on environmental justice. We put out a position about environmental justice and diversity. And we're really trying to make sure that we're sharing and promoting and supporting groups that are doing it. There was a wonderful Black Birders Week. There was the Latino Conservation Week that we really tried to support and put information out there about. So in addition to that, we continue to do programming for some of the areas in Lower Bucks that are a little bit more diverse through some of our grant programs through schools. We're going to be doing in Lower Bucks this summer, we're going to be doing a pop-up garden in one of the communities. And so we're trying to find ways to be more aware and more inclusive about our programming and what we're doing. Alrighty. Then we have some other programs that we wanted to do. Probably one of the most successful of the programs that we started during the pandemic was our Lunch and Learn series. We are just finishing up actually our 4th sort of session of our Lunch and Learns. We meet on Wednesdays at noon, and we started out learning about nature in your backyard. We talked about mammals and birds and reptiles and amphibians and fungus and lichen and all kinds of really exciting things about that people might find and how they can identify them. And then after that was so popular, we moved into a sustainability Lunch and Learn series that was actually supported through a grant by Visit Bucks County. And that one explored solar energy and geothermal. It explored green rooftops, just a lot of really great ways that people can be more sustainable. So that was a great program. We followed that up with our Birding Bonanza Lunch and Learn series, which covered topics from, climate change and its impact on birds to window strikes of birds, cats. So a lot of different ways that we can sort of help and protect birds. So that was very exciting. And right now we are finishing up our Nature Connections Lunch and Learn. This one is in partnership with our Community Science Committee. And each week we're exploring different community science programs that people can get involved with. A lot of people are spending more time outside, they're gardening, they're bird watching. And we want to encourage that and let them know and connect them to ways that they can, do fun things in their backyard and add to that sort of metadata of, important information that's out there. So everything from climate watch to feeder watch, frog watch. We're talking about the butterfly count this week. We're talking about firefly watch in 2 weeks. So lots of really interesting things that people can do to get involved. And if you're interested in any of those, the greatest part, remember I talked about that, all of those Zoom recordings that we have, all of these Lunch and Learns are recorded and you can watch them on our YouTube page. So they're all there. Really, really great information. Oops, too far. But programs are only part of what we managed to accomplish this year. I think one of the things that's most exciting is we actually have gotten a lot done around our property this year. I mentioned early on our partnership with the Master Watershed Stewards and working on a riparian buffer zone where they planted about 150 native trees and shrubs along our stream and removed just tons and tons of invasive plants. That's a really great program, and we're excited that that program is actually going to be continuing. We're going to be starting up again and working this summer and early fall. We've got 2 grants, one through Tree Vitalize and one through the Lower Delaware Wild and Scenic Commission, which is funded through the National Park Service. And those 2 grants are going to allow us to probably plant another 150 trees or so, which is really exciting. So there's no end to the exciting things that we're going to be doing on the property. But we also had a grant this past year that allowed us to do some really fun stuff around our bird blind, which is exciting because it was kind of looking like, it was kind of looking a little down, I have to admit, a little dark. People love to go back there, but we wanted to sort of spruce it up a little bit. So thanks to our very hardworking property committee, we have a wonderful new roof. So it's not leaking anymore, which is huge. Thanks to a wonderful Eagle Scout, we have some drainage fixed. They fixed the drainage around the outside, and they put up a deer fence and really lovely gate around an area outside. And then thanks to a grant, we were able to do a huge amount of native planting within the deer fence. Native shrubs, native perennials that would attract a lot of birds to the area, in addition to new feeders and making sure that there's plenty of feeders out there. And some beautiful, beautiful new signage. So if you are at the bird blind, definitely take a look at the signs. They were designed by Marissa Jacobs, who many of you know. And she just did an amazing, amazing job. So really exciting stuff out at our bird blind. We also had another Eagle Scout that did some really great work. If you're down by our marsh area, just before it goes into the pond, it was always a little wet, a little hard to access it, especially for school groups, which we love to take out there. So we had Eagle Scouts put in some of these boardwalks to take us out into the marsh area, which will be really helpful once we're allowed to have schools again. We also had another Eagle Scout who put in a hibernaculum, and I don't have a good picture of this because it's really, on the surface, it doesn't really look like much, but they dug a really, really deep hole, and they put in stuff to sort of make sort of bedding areas for snakes. So the snakes would then go down in underground to be able to hibernate in the winter. So like it doesn't look like a huge amount. It's sort of a pile of rocks on the surface, but there's a lot of stuff going on underneath to be able to provide winter habitats for the snakes. So we were very excited about that. Signage is still in the works on that one. Now, all of that is happening on our property, but probably the biggest and most exciting thing going on our property in the last year is our new solar panels. If those of you, and I think most of you were probably there 2 years ago, believe it or not, 2 years ago, I stood in front of you and I said, hey, for our 50th anniversary, I really, really, really want to raise enough money to put on solar panels. And we did it. We raised the money through our Capture the Sun capital campaign. And we have absolutely beautiful solar panels on our building. Days like today, we're just sort of racking in the energy. It's really great to see. We had a slightly cloudy day for our ribbon cutting, and we did it virtually, but you know, we did our ribbon cutting. We're really excited to start doing more programming around solar and talking about it. So I think we're going to see a lot of fun stuff coming out of about sustainability and about solar over the next few years around our education programs. So this was a huge one, and it would not have happened without all of your support. So again, thank you all so much for supporting me saying, let's do a capital campaign and put solar on the building, because I can't thank you enough. I love it. And everyone is so excited when they see it, when they come back. They're just like, wow, that's really nice. We actually used it as a backdrop. We're going to talk a little bit further along about advocacy and the work we've been doing with advocacy. And one of the things we've been talking a lot about is community solar and supporting community solar in Pennsylvania. And we actually used our solar as a sort of a backdrop, a virtual backdrop, because we did again over Zoom, but to sort of talk about solar and how it works so that some local officials would be able to understand it a little bit better and hopefully support community solar. So we're already using it to help educate. But it keeps going on. Lots and lots of exciting things. If you've been out to our site on Saturday mornings in nice weather, you may have seen Dragonfly Yoga having a yoga class, socially distanced on our back patio. They are so excited to be able to use it. They have a very tiny indoor space where they just haven't been able to do programming. So they love the fact that they can have a big space and have lots of people coming out on Saturday mornings. So if you're out and are interested, definitely sign up. They're absolutely fabulous people. We also, again, trying to find creative ways to do some of our programming. We've in the past offered STEM Club for girls, so science, technology, engineering, and math programming for girls through some grant funding. Obviously, we couldn't do it this year at the schools as an after-school program like we normally would, but we did it as a virtual STEM Club this year. So that was been really exciting. It was a 20-week club, so they finished up, I think, in 2 weeks. And it's been a really lovely group. They actually came out for a bird walk of their own a couple of weeks ago and had a great time on the site as well. So we've been really excited to work with them. We started a Young Naturalist program, which meets on Friday afternoons, which has been really popular as well. Again, parents just wanting their kids to get outside and away from the computer. And we've also, in addition to our Lunch and Learn series, we've been doing a lot of our programs that we would normally do as sort of an information and then hike. So normally if you were coming to a frog watch, you would come and we would do a presentation about the different types of frogs, and then we would go out and look for them. Obviously, we don't want to do that sort of introductory part where everyone sort of has to sit and listen to a presentation. So we've been pairing them up, and we've been doing virtual presentations on like Thursday evenings. Like our most recent one last week, we did wildflowers. So we did a wildflower presentation virtually on Thursday, sort of introducing what we might see and what they were like and what we would be looking for. And then on Saturday afternoon, we had a nice group of people who came out and took a hike, and we went looking for wildflowers. So we've been pairing a lot of our programs that way so that we can make sure that we're, again, keeping everybody safe, but still giving people that opportunity to get outside and learn. So these programs also available on our YouTube channel. So lots of exciting things. We are once again doing our bluebird nest box monitoring through our community science programs. So just really fun, exciting things. It took a lot of pivoting and a lot of energy, but we've been pretty excited about it. One of the things that I feel like really did super well over the pandemic has really been our advocacy work, because I think a lot of it has actually benefited from being able to meet people on Zoom. Our Advocacy Committee, which is a wonderful group if anyone's interested in joining, I believe we have had 6 or 7 meetings with legislators since January. And that never would have been able to happen before. It was much harder to do when you had to schedule people and figure out who was going to go when and how they were going to do it. Now that we can do a lot of these meetings through Zoom, we've had a lot more contact with our local legislators. We even had a couple of them out for a bird walk last week, which is a picture down in sort of the left side there. Megan Schroeder and Shelby Labs from Doylestown came out, and we did a wonderful bird walk with them and talked about the watershed and the importance of clean water. We spent a lot of time talking about our riparian buffer work. They were very impressed with all of our wonderful trees, which we are as well. So just lots of great stuff going with advocacy. If anyone does not get our weekly advocacy e-blast, our 5 and 5, I would definitely sign up for it. There's some great stuff going on there. So yeah, I think our advocacy work has really sort of bumped up this year, and it's been really exciting to see things moving forward. And finally, this spring, we made another huge leap. We decided we weren't going to do Earth Day virtually. We were going to do it in person. And we had almost 200 people on site from visitors and vendors and volunteers who all came out on a slightly chillier than I was hoping for Saturday in April, but it was really wonderful. This was our first sort of big event, having people back out. And it went great. People really enjoyed it. They were excited to be back outside. We had some great sponsors who helped us out with the event. So a huge thank you to them. And it was just a really, really wonderful event. And I think it's sort of, I feel like, that was sort of our spring, even though that's not the start of our year. I always sort of feel like spring is sort of the start of the year as things are sort of starting to move forward. So I feel like it's kicking us off for a really great spring, summer, and fall. So thank you all for everyone who helped out with that event as well. Normally I stick with just the, yay, let's talk about the programs. But I think it's important to sort of mention some of the financial things, obviously, that happened during COVID. As we were having this meeting last year, we were really struggling about what is our budget going to look like for this fiscal year. And we have to admit, I mean, I was nervous. I think all of our board was nervous. We weren't sure how, what was going to happen with our finances. Were we going to be able to run programs at all? Were we going to be able to reopen our birdseed shed? Were we going to be able to get any donations or members, or were those all going to dry up? What was going to happen? At that time, we were applying for some help from the federal government, which we did receive. We did receive a PPP loan, a Payroll Protection Act loan. We got that. And then we also got an Economic Injury and Disaster Relief, EIDL loan. I'm really bad with acronyms, sorry. But we got one of those loans as well. And those have been good because they sort of helped put us in a stable place so that we could, continue to pay staff and continue to do the work that we were doing so that we didn't lose that momentum and lose that ground. So those have been incredibly helpful to us. We've also seen a huge increase, and I think this is because so many people are feeding their birds right now. We've seen a huge increase in people buying birdseed. which has been wonderful. So we have a lot going on there. If anyone doesn't buy their bird seed from us, I highly recommend it. We have great seed, very high quality, some really lovely diverse choices. So check it out. It was all self-serve. So that's been going really well. And then, as I mentioned before, sort of programming. Our decision to sort of move forward, I think, with camp was a huge part to us being successful financially this year. We set a very, very conservative budget for the year because we didn't know what was going to happen. And we are far exceeding the budget that we had set. So it's not going to be a perfect year. We're not going to, it's not going to be, as good as maybe we had ultimately originally hoped, but I think we're in a really good financial position right now, moving into the next fiscal year. So it's a very, very exciting and very stress relieving thing for us all. So then sort of what comes next? It's been, like I said, it's been a different kind of year, but I think going forward, I think we're going to see a lot of exciting things going on. I think, as I mentioned, we have our best camp summer ever summer camp coming up. There's going to be a lot of kids. We've hired a wonderful new coordinator for our summer camp program. Her name is Molly Bell. She starts on Monday. So we're really excited about that. She's got lots of great experience. We've hired an intern who is a Bucks County Community College student who's really excited to come and work with the kids this summer as well. So we're going to have some extra help for our programming. And I think just knowing that the camps are already full is just putting us all in that very happy place that it's going to be a really great summer. So I think it's going to be great. We're also starting some other exciting things. In fact, this coming Saturday, we are training some volunteers. We're going to start through our Community Science Committee. We're going to be starting some stream monitoring on our property. This is something that we've wanted to start for a little while. So I'm excited that we can finally get the volunteers out and do some training with them in person and start this program. So we're going to sort of compare what's happening on our property right now, looking, at different parts of the property and how we use it. And sort of compare those numbers. And then if it becomes really successful, hopefully we can continue on to some of our neighboring properties as well, with permission, of course, and really get a really good idea of what the Honey Hollow watershed looks like as far as water quality. So we're excited to see where that takes us. We are also really excited to have schools back. I think that's one of the things that we have really missed the most with the pandemic is having schools out for school field trips and being able to go into classrooms. So we are really excited about having that coming back. I think that's going to be really, really important. We are also in the process of raising some additional funds for some other programming. You're going to hear just briefly about this, but I want to mention it. We are looking for funds right now to actually do a new inventory of the natural history of our property. Some of you have probably seen the natural history that was done in 1972. We're coming up to its 50th anniversary. And there have been small surveys done since then, but we want to do a really comprehensive one and really look at those changes and how it's been impacted by environmental issues. So everything from climate change and invasive species and a lot of the issues that we are facing and we've been facing for the last 50 years and how that's impacted what is living on our site, as well as make some predictions about how it's going to look going forward as we continue to deal with the impacts of climate change. So we're really excited about that as a program opportunity, a lot of program opportunities around that as well. So just lots of exciting things I think that are going to be happening. We're also going to be doing a lot of planning. Oops, there's the picture. There's a picture of the inventory. I knew it was there somewhere. So we have that project. And then the other sort of big thing that we're in the plans of doing is some work on our pond. I know many of you have been down and know that it has some issues, especially around the spillway area. So we're working on getting some funding so that we can figure out how to deal with that project properly and hopefully make some big changes probably over the next couple of years. It's not going to happen super fast, but we are working on sort of planning that for the future, as well as other things around our property. So I think this is going to be, in the next several years, are going to be just a great time to do some great things and ecosystems within our property to really make it an even better teaching tool for us. So we're really excited about that. All righty. And I think that may be my last one. Yes, I will go back. Thank you all so much. Again, I wouldn't be able to do all the things that I do without all of your support. So I really appreciate it. If anyone has any questions, I'm happy to take them. Or if not, I'll turn it back over to Bob. All righty.
All right.
Take it away, Bob.
Thank you for that wonderful report on our last year, Stacy. Done a great job, not only on the report tonight, but on seeing us through this past difficult year. So thank you so much for that. At this point of our meeting, I, Stacy, Callie, the rest of the board would like to take a moment to thank and honor our board members who are going to be stepping down after this meeting. So Leroy Tabb, who we mentioned at the beginning, is not present tonight. He's off doing some election work, but he'll be stepping down after 2 full terms. He's been a valued member for the last 6 years. He's one of my fellow birders on the board, and he's been an important connection between our organization and the Bucks County birding community at large. He's an active member of our community science and property committees, and even off the board, he's planning to continue working on those committees to help do things like revise our Birds of Bucks County book and to establish a self-guided nature trail at Honey Hollow. He's always quick with a joke, and I know I'm going to miss the sense of humor that he's brought to our meetings over the last couple of years, but look forward to continuing to work with him on those other ongoing projects. So our other board member who's going to be stepping down after tonight is Shannon Friedabos Siller, who's been an invaluable member of the board for the past 3 years. And as Callie mentioned at the beginning, she's our current vice president. She served as vice president for the last year. She's an active member of our property committee, and she's dedicated countless hours over the past couple of years to help us maintain Honey Hollow, in addition to the work that she's done for the board. With her firsthand insight into conservation in Bucks County, she's brought important knowledge and experience to our organization. And during board meetings, she always asks insightful questions that cut right to the heart of the matter. And I know I'm going to miss that perspective that she's always brought to the board. So thank you to Leroy and to Shannon. You've been great board members, and we're going to miss you.
Yes.
I have to jump in for just 1 second. Shannon apparently is very good at not getting her picture taken, because I could not, even though I know she's been at a bunch of events, I could not find an extra picture of her. So the other picture here is the other thing we're missed about Shannon, and hopefully this won't change, is her fabulous family. Her kids, her boys are wonderful, and her husband are great. And they come out and help her out when she's doing programs. This is them as our bio blitz. They were like knee deep in the mud. They were just having a great time. So hopefully, even though Shannon's stepping down from the board, we will still get a chance to see her and her family at a lot of our events. All righty.
And I'm up next. And each year we want to recognize people that we couldn't do things if we didn't have their help and assistance in so many different ways. So the first person that we want to recognize is Phil Getty. We're recognizing him for his continuing care of the Bucks Audubon fields, streams, and buildings. As the chair of the property committee, Phil has kept an eye on everything from the dam to dead trees to ductwork and much, much more. His attention to detail and fierce advocacy, not only to keep the property green, but also to ensure that the buildings are in good working order, is an inspiration to those who serve with him on the committee. Thanks to his leadership, matters large, like the cottage furnace, and small, such as millings, are looked after thoughtfully and thoroughly. We are most grateful to Phil Getty for all that he does for us. We also want to recognize Allison Levine. And as you've heard, the Bucks County Audubon Society has been doing a great deal of good work in terms of advocacy. So to Allison Levine, we recognize her for her tireless support of the environment at Bucks Audubon and beyond. As the chair of our advocacy committee, she has led the group to set and meet ambitious goals and meet those goals, including putting forward position statements, holding meetings with Pennsylvania political figures, as Stacy mentioned, and lots of posts on social media sites. Under her guidance, the group is also moving forward regarding issues of environmental justice. She has made Bucks Audubon a visible force and a significant voice for responsible and sustainable actions, not just in our local communities, but throughout Pennsylvania. And as Stacy mentioned, in addition, we need to update the inventory of natural resources in the Bucks County watershed. Sally Coyne has taken the lead with this, and we recognize her for all that she is doing. She recognized and acted on the need for current information about local natural history and how it has and will be affected by current environmental issues. She's already sought and received a grant of $10,000 from the Marshall Reynolds Foundation. She's moving forward with additional applications to fund the project, looking to raise $100,000, a not insignificant sum. With these grants, she will provide birders and others who love and cherish the Bucks Audubon property with invaluable information for years to come. So for all of those people who've worked with these three, we thank everyone, and everyone in many ways deserves special recognition. So thank you all.
Thank you.
Now it's back to Mr. McGarry.
All right. And yep, sorry about the feedback there. But thank you to everybody who's joined us tonight, the board and our members who've decided to join us for this evening. I know Callie was kind of making this point at the beginning of the meeting, but it is a lovely spring evening, and instead of spending it out in nature, you decided to spend it here on a Zoom meeting, but for an organization that you love. And I thank you for coming out and supporting Bucks Audubon tonight. And I hope that sometime in the next couple of weeks, you'll find the time to stop in at Honey Hollow. Obviously, it's a great time of year to get out and see what's going on in nature. And perhaps you'll even find some time to join us for one of our events, like the Lunch and Learns that Stacy was describing earlier, or even our Raptor Run 5K that we'll be having next month. So once again, thank you for joining us this evening, and thank you for your support for Bucks Audubon, and I hope you have a great rest of your night.
Thank you.
Thank you all so much. It's been a great year. Hopefully next year will be even better.
Stacy, thank you too for